So this is my everyday carry survival tin. It's small enough that it fits into your pocket, but it's absolutely full of essential survival equipment. Now the tape around the top here keeps the lid on securely and also acts as a waterproof seal. Underneath the lid is a mirror that can be used for signalling, and then underneath the tape here are some fishing hooks. This is just some cotton wool, which obviously acts as a really fast and effective tinder. Now in this kit I have 3 different methods of making fire, the first of which being these stormproof matches, and then I also have a fire steel or ferrocerium rod, and then lastly I have a trusty lighter. And I also like to carry a candle, because if you're lighting a fire in difficult conditions, you can light the candle in the early stages of the fire. If the fire then fails, you have a backup flame on the candle. This is a piece of hexiblock, and these burn at a high temperature for a long time. And then I also have this piece of rubber tyre, which also burns for a long time. So the hexiblock and the rubber tyre are really helpful for lighting fires in difficult, wet conditions. Here's a small fishing kit, and in here there's line, a few different hooks, weights and swivels, and a small lure for catching predatory fish. And then on the topic of food, I also have this snare wire for setting snares, trying to catch small animals. And here's just a small penknife. Obviously in any type of survival situation, a knife is always going to be useful. And here's a distress whistle, and these can be heard from a long way away, so hopefully somebody will hear it and come to your aid. Here's a small amount of cordage. This stuff is really strong and durable. You could use this for lashing tools together, lashing together parts of a shelter. And then also, here's some electrical tape. You could use this to repair stuff, again, lashing things together, and you could also use it as a makeshift plaster. And here's a small sewing kit with a few different lines of thread and a couple of needles, and then also some safety pins for attaching various things together. And here's a small button compass, so if you know roughly where you are and the direction you need to head, you can hopefully navigate yourself to safety. And this is just the striker for the fire steel. And here are some water purification tablets. You just put one of these into a litre of water and it will kill the pathogens and make it safe to drink. But remember, these won't remove suspended sediments or solids. You need to filter the water first for that. And then I have a couple of first aid supplies. I have 2 of these alcohol wound cleansing swabs, and then a couple of different sized plasters. This is a razor blade, and you could use the tape to attach this to the distress whistle or onto a piece of wood or something else, and then effectively what you have is a backup knife. And at the bottom of the tin I have these plastic food bags, and these are here for the collection and carrying of water. They hold about a litre of water each, they're strong and durable, and they've got handles to make carrying the water a lot easier. And lastly, the tin itself is also a survival item, and it can be used to boil water, as I demonstrate here. So those are all of the items inside my everyday carry survival tin.